Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reviews That Don't Matter with Jessica Hitt. My name is Jessica Hitt. On today's episode, it is a Gifted recap, and you know what? I'm excited about this one. This is episode 10 of season 1 and the mid-season finale, and I am so excited. I love this episode. You know, when this show first started, I really liked the pilot. I liked the second episode, kind of dipped a little bit, and I was a little worried about it kind of becoming very stagnant and like not knowing where it's going. But these last few episodes have been so good. Some of the best television I've seen, at least from network television, in a very long time. And yes, I have stopped watching a lot of network television, so maybe there's good ones out there, but this show really just captures what it is to be a fan of all of this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I don't read comics. I never really got into them, and quite honestly, now it feels so daunting to start comics. Don't have any clue where to even begin. I watched a lot of the cartoon series. I've done research on, like, whenever a movie comes out, I usually try to do a little bit of research so that way I kind of know what's going on. I don't really know anything about what it's setting up for The Gifted. I don't know about the Hellfire Club. I totally forgot they were in Days of Future Past, or First Class. They were Kevin Bacon and January Jones's Emma Frost. They were in the Hellfire Club, and I totally forgot about that. But I don't know much about these characters. Most of them, I mean, I know quite a bit about Polaris. She's the only one that I really know a lot about. And that's mainly because a while back ago, I basically just Googled list of female superheroes because I wanted to see the cool ones that were out there, because a lot of what we get is male superheroes, which, you know, I like a lot of them, but I want some females in there. Like, come on. And then I came across Polaris in the X-Men category, and I don't know why, I just thought she was such a cool character. And from what I read from her, she never quite got a lot of justice in the comics. And I was kind of thinking that they were going to put her in the new movies because they have Havoc in there. And in the comics, Havoc and Polaris have a very on-again, off-again relationship. And so I always thought that was going to happen. But then they kind of sort of killed Havoc off, I guess. Who knows in these universes? Also, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Apocalypse. Sorry. But anyway, back to The Gifted. What I'm really enjoying is having no clue where this is going. Like, a lot of the comic book fans probably knew where Esme was going and, like, kind of what she was. I had no clue. I kind of had, like, a faint suspicion that she was not all that she was saying she was. But I think that was a little obvious to pretty much anybody. And then this episode just, like, completely took me by surprise. Every turn. And this is easily my favorite episode of the season. I mean, so much happened. You have this character, Esme, played by Skylar Samuels, I believe. It took me a while to remember where I know her from. She was in the first season of Scream Queens, which was okay. There were, like, really high moments of it, but, like, I'm not the greatest, whatever his name is, the creator of Scream Queens and Glee and American Horror Story. Ryan Murphy. I'm not, like, crazy about what he puts out. Like, occasionally he'll put something out really fantastic, like the first season of Glee, or OJ versus the People, but not always. Anyway, so she comes in, and I really liked her character, and I was like, there's something more to her, and now there's this twist that she is part of the Stepford Cuckoos, is I guess what they're called in the comics. I might be wrong, but that's kind of what I read up again. And they're Emma Frost's daughters. It's hard to not think of them as one, because we really haven't seen more than one personality, because we just get that snippet at the end where they're all going, like, mind crazy. So they can read people's mind, but they can also control people, I'm assuming, for at least a short amount of time. And that definitely happened at the very climax of this episode, where she decides to kind of just pull one over on Eclipse, knock him out with a taser, and then basically just kill all the Sentinel services by telling them to kill themselves. And it was just like, what is going on in this episode? Like, I was like, oh my God, is she just evil? Or is she just like, does she actually have family? And then her two sisters walk out and they look just like her. And I was just like, oh my God, this is fantastic. And now, like, I've kind of read up a little bit about them. I'm going to read more about, like, what's going on. And I'm fascinated. And I'm really fascinated to see, on an acting standpoint, how Skylar Samuels does playing the three characters, especially when they all dress the same, because someone that did theater a while back, it's been a while, something that always helped me get into character was when I was wearing the costumes, and it would confuse me to be wearing the same thing. Like, I would really have to study and, like, really have to, like, figure out little, like, tweaks and, like, things that they do. It would just, I'm fascinated to see how she does. And she did a really great interview with Entertainment Weekly, if you guys want to look that up, where she kind of talks about how she kind of plucked little things from each of these characters and then based their personality all on that, and kind of like the filming standpoint of how it is to film with yourself in two different places. And also, I think this is the hint that she's a part of the Hellfire Club, because, I mean, obviously her mom, if they ever bring Emma Frost into this world, which I would think that they would eventually, especially considering she's never had, like, a really great movie adaptation. Like, let's be real, January Jones was the worst part of First Class. It was terrible. And so I would like to see a version of her sort of evil motherly type, you know? Like, I want to see that. But let's go back. She basically manipulated everyone in this entire episode, starting with the Struckers by convincing Mom Pa Strucker to go and find Agent Turner. I believe that is the big baddie at Sentinel Services. I think that's his name, Agent Turner. Jace Turner is what I learned today. Anyway, they go and they really, Porthos, you're messing up my light. Oh, hi, buddy. Hi. Anyway, Mom Pa Strucker go and try to convince Agent Turner, apparently his wife as well, because they go to his actual house, to help them out and at least get them out of the lab and transported to a real jail, because at least they're not going to be drugged up and turned into hounds. And while they don't really convince him, they do sort of convince, or at least enlighten, his wife as to what he is doing, because obviously he can't really tell her what he's doing. And she kind of pleads with him, like, this is what you're doing in our daughter's name. And that's kind of what turns it around. And you knew that he was always slightly uncomfortable with whatever was happening with Trask Industries and sort of experimenting on these people. And honestly, I've always been a fan of this character. I do think that they made a great sort of, I'm not going to say villain, but antagonist is the best way to do it, because he has heart. You don't think he's really a bad guy, but he's put in that antagonist position to the people that we obviously are supposed to root for, which is the mutants. And then Esme turns around and she tells all the rest of the Mutant Underground that the Struckers had gone rogue and decided to go talk to Agent Turner, when in fact, of course, it was her plan. And then when one of their lookouts actually sees like a transporting van, they all mobilize. They're like, holy crap, the Struckers did it. Like, let's go and let's try to get these people while they're transporting, because that's going to be their best shot. And while that's happening, Esme, of course, knocks out Eclipse, and that's where we get to the climax, where all of Sentinel Services are dying, and then we end with, of course, the triplets, the Stefford Cuckoos. Really, Porthos, get out. Okay, let's be careful with the knitted sweater. Sorry, my dog's being annoying today. Anyway, the last thing that we see is her saying, okay, mutants, let's go. Like, are all of these mutants going to go with her? Which I'm assuming they are, because they'd have no clue what else is to do. I mean, you don't see any of the other Mutant Underground, because, you know, Eclipse has gone back to tell everybody kind of what just happened, because he had woken up kind of in the middle of it and seen, like, the last bit of the murder spree that Esme went on. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about is, of course, what happened at Trask Industries. We finally get to see Andy and Lauren use their, like, Fenrir powers together, in which they almost blast through a supposable metal that is indestructible. So I don't quite know what that evil doctor dude is going to be doing with all of this, because at the end he does say something about, like, okay, this is it. This is how we finally stop the mutants from taking over, or something like that. And so obviously something happened, but this all, of course, happens after they were forced to use their powers, after the Dr. Evil dude shoots Dreamer right in the chest. She dies. And so finally we get some stakes, some people that we actually know. And while I wasn't as emotionally attached to Dreamer, I do think that she was a character that was growing, and I wanted to know more about her, especially considering she kind of came in as a little antagonistic to Clarice's character. But I think that you also saw a really nice development in the relationship between Clarice and Dreamer, to where they had really, I think if they would have both gotten past this point, they would have become very close friends and probably would have really tried to stick together. But now Dreamer's dead. So, you know, that sucks. I did want to know more about her character, but it does, of course, lead into a possibility of Clarice and Thunderbird getting together, which is where they're going in the long run. We all know this. It's pretty obvious. But now John Thunderbird has to get over Dreamer's death. And also, I have been corrected in the comments below that this is actually a 13-episode season, not a 22 like regular network TV, which is exciting. Apparently, they originally ordered The Gifted for 10 episodes, and then they believed in it enough to add in an extra 3 after the mid-season finale, which is this episode, which is interesting because, I mean, if this episode hadn't turned out as great as it did, it's very risky to then go on winter hiatus and just bring her back for 3 episodes because, I mean, a lot of times you lose a couple viewers within that winter hiatus, at least within the first viewing. Like, a lot of people catch up in February or March, but in January, like, people forget when things are coming back on. It's a little risky, but it does show that there is a lot of backing behind The Gifted, and I believe it might have even been renewed for season 2, which makes me very excited. But one thing I do want to say is that maybe because they extended it to 13 episodes is why we got a couple of those episodes that didn't quite feel like they were really going anywhere. But you know what? I actually appreciate those episodes because they do give us a little bit of time to show the Strucker parents kind of adapting to this mutant underground world and kind of realizing that everything that they thought has some issues and they could have been wrong. So I'm not particularly mad about these sort of filler episodes that, even though we might have gotten a couple things from them, they don't feel like much. But once episode 8 kicked in, like, I was so in. 8, 9, and 10 are fantastic episodes, and they work really well together. And they're the type of episodes, like, if you were binge watching, you need to watch the next episode. And it does make me sad that I have to wait, like, a month. Yeah, I think it's a month. I think it's like the 3rd or 4th weekend in January that it comes back for the last 3 episodes. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I guess I'll wait. I will theorize. I am probably going to dig into some fan theories and see what's going on because I need to know things. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this recap review thing. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what are your thoughts on The Gifted as a whole for the first 10 seasons, 10 episodes. What are your predictions to happen in the next 3? And if you read the comics, please, like, don't give me any info like, well, this character does this in the comics, so we might get something similar to that. I don't need to know that much, okay? I just want to know predictions, like plain human being predictions. And then also don't forget to subscribe. I make videos Monday through Friday, and this week's going to be a good one. We get the Riverdale mid-season finale, which we'll see how that goes. And then also, I finally get to watch The Room today, Disaster Artist, and Lady Bird. I'm doing triple feature, and I'm very, very excited. So you'll be getting those this week and early next week. Can't wait. Oh, also Star Wars is coming out, so you'll be getting that pretty soon, as well as Clone Wars Season 6, The Lost Missions. I promise you, I am trying to finish this. It's just I have so much on my plate, but we'll get it done, okay? Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.